Everybody loves a secret weapon. Hi, welcome to the Crates Motel. My name's Conan. In today's video, I'm going to discuss a little secret weapon that I use in mixing and mastering sometimes. Now, it's not a brand new plugin. It's actually quite an old plugin. But when I need this particular situation resolved, I do tend to reach for this plugin. So let's get stuck in. So here we are in Studio One. Now, what made me think of making this video was the other day, a brief that I got from a client was asking for some growl in their master. And, you know, straight away, obviously, with growl, you think of saturation and distortion, that kind of thing. But it's not always easy to apply to a master. You can't just grab a normal distortion plugin and just whack that on top. And some saturation plugins can be a bit overbearing as well. So I wanted a plugin that could be very, very subtle. And I also wanted to have mid and side options on there as well. So this is the plugin that I was talking about. It's the Vertigo VSM3 from Plugin Alliance. And it's the plugin which, more often than not, when I have this kind of issue, I do tend to reach for it. Now, there's plenty of other plugins which also do mid and side and saturation. FabFilter do an amazing plugin that does this. And there's many, many more. But there's just something I like about the VSM3. I don't want to go too much into the analog digital wars, whether it sounds exactly like the analog piece. But I just like the kind of warmth that I get, the harmonics that I get from the VSM. Now, the actual master, I can't actually show you because it was for a major label and a major artist, and I can't play it because it's not been released yet and I'd get in a lot of trouble and probably lose the client. So I'm going to use it on a master, which I did last week, which is a very similar kind of record to the record that I was mastering. So hopefully I can still get across this plugin. So without going into too much science and getting Plugin Doctor out and all that kind of stuff, I'm just going to briefly explain what the VSM3 can do. It's basically a plugin which you can add saturation and harmonics to your mix or to a track or to a master. And it has two stages. It has the Effect Crusher, which, for want of a better phrase, adds warmth. And the Xena Blender, which is third harmonic, which kind of brightens things up. So the way that I'm using it here is I'm going to be using the second harmonic Effect Crusher on the mid signal to create some warmth and some depth and kind of saturated bottom end, I guess is the best way to describe it. I'm going to be using the third harmonic Xena Blender on the side signal to kind of add brightness, but it will also add width to the actual master. So the way that I do this, obviously you can see here, now this is a preset which I have set up and the preset will actually be available. It's a preset that I've kind of worked on over the years that I've been using this plugin. So I tend to go with that and then adjust it slightly because, you know, it pretty much almost always nails what I need it to do in the situation that I'm using the plugin for. So with the Effect Crusher, I switch this to mid. And with the third harmonic Xena Blender, I switch it to side. I have it in parallel, so they're running together and I can mix them together with a THD mixer rather than serial, which would run the second harmonic into the third harmonic. I have it switched to low on the second harmonic Effect Crusher, and I have it switched to high on the third harmonic. And so what this is doing is it's adding saturation to the bottom end in the mid, and adding saturation rather to the high end in the sides, and therefore widening the mix, but also kind of giving it a nice growl and a nice crunchy harmonic. So I'm going to play the track without the plugin first. So as you can hear, the master's at a pretty decent point. We're getting pretty decent numbers. It still sounds nice. It's got dynamics, but it's up to commercial levels. So now I'm going to take the plugin out of bypass. Just to give you a feeling, hopefully you're listening on headphones because you're going to be able to hear it, because as it's a master, it's quite subtle. I'm going to drop it in and out of bypass so that you can hear what happens. Before I put the plugin in, it's a decent sounding master. I'm happy with it. But with this plugin, it just adds a little bit of growl, a little bit of dirt and grit, and it opens up. So if you listen on headphones, I'm going to drop it in and out of bypass. I'm going to take the output down a tiny little bit so it's level matched. So as you can hear, it opens it up and just makes it seem louder without it actually being louder. That perceived loudness thing that you often hear people talking about. So what's great about this plugin as well is I love this monitoring section where you can monitor the mid signal and the side signal individually, but you can also monitor the distortion or the harmonics that you're adding. So that's just the side signal. Oh, that just sounds great. I love that. And then that's monitoring both the mid and side distortion together, but just what you're applying. So kind of like a delta, I guess. So these two drive knobs are kind of really what I would play with to add a bit more of effect. These I have, I mean, it really is sort of one of those plugins where whilst I am going to provide a preset, you really kind of need to find your own way with it. And the best way to find your own way around a plugin is to start turning knobs. Somebody all day long could explain to you, but if you apply it to your actual track, what they've explained might not work. So just get stuck in there, just start twisting things around and push things too far, then you get a real feel for what they're actually doing. I love doing that with plugins. I love just, fiddling around. And then every time you get something that you like or that it works, save it as a preset, because you can go back to it again, you can use it again, you can tweak it slightly. You can build the perfect preset, but just the only way you're really going to find out whether a plugin or an analog piece of equipment works and how it works is to just get stuck in and get involved. So I'm going to push the bottom end slightly. And then I'm going to push the side signal now. Really feel it opening up. There really is a ton of things that you can play around with to affect the sound, but I wanted to make this quite a short video just because I basically forgot how good this plugin is. And with all the new plugins that come out all the time, it's very tempting to just keep trying new plugins, and then you forget about the old ones. And that's why I have like a favorites list set up in my DAW, because you do quite often forget about how good an old plugin is. And, it's sort of almost criminal sometimes to forget how many plugins we have access to in the box now. And we just forget about them and we move on and we try something else, or I have to try this new plugin. So yeah, maybe make a favorites list, keep an eye on your old plugins, don't neglect them, they'll get sad. But also you'll go back to them and suddenly go, wow, I forgot how amazing this is. This Plugin Alliance, I think you can sometimes pick it up for $29.99, and they do vouchers and stuff as well. So sometimes you can pick it up for next to nothing. It really, really is good. I can't lie to you, I haven't used it very much on individual tracks. I tend to have other plugins that I would use on individual tracks, but for mastering and on the mix bus, It's absolutely amazing. Demo it, try it out. I absolutely love it. And don't forget that I will be providing a preset. So by all means, download that preset and play around with it yourself. Have a quick read of the manual and it explains a lot more what all of these buttons and switches do. And just get amongst it, play around with it. And there you have it, the Vertigo VSM3. I absolutely love that plugin for mastering. It really is kind of like a go-to, but because it's old, people have kind of forgotten about it. And I guess that's why I kind of wanted to make this video. I'd forgotten how good it is. And I was kind of blown away by it last week when this client asked for a particular sound and I just added this. Client absolutely loved it. The record label loved it. And, you know, it's just sort of testament to the fact that you've probably got a ton of plugins in your computer that you've forgotten about and you've moved on because something else has come out with more bells and whistles on it. Don't forget about those old plugins. Go back and use them, go back and try them out. And like I said, every time you get something that you like the sound of, save it as a preset. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more mixing and mastering tutorials and reviews. This is the Crates Motel. My name's Conan. Till next time.